And sitting in the classroom, it occurred to me that I may not know the first thing about the core of our business, which is the therapies. And I was really taken aback by that how many spa directors have never been practitioners. And you think you know about the therapies because you've received and perhaps you even wrote the protocol. But if you don't understand the science behind it, then you really don't understand what your therapists are going through on a daily basis and how they mentally need to be plugged in and how intuition comes into play. There were two things that were really fascinating to me about the feedback from clients. One of my favorite stories was from a woman who pulled me aside. She knew I was a spa director and said, I've traveled all around the world. I receive on a regular basis, and I've never been with a therapist who was as connected as yours. And to me that made perfect sense because you can't, as an ASTECC practitioner, go off a protocol. You not only need to really listen to your guests, but you need to listen to their tissues. You need to listen with your hands as you're working on them. That's why I love the work, because it's very meditative for me. You're constantly tuned in, and that's the only thing that you can focus on. So that feedback from clients was amazing. But also, you asked the question about, was it different? Were they receiving things different than what they expected? Yes, because their expectations were exceeded, but also because they realized that they no longer needed to stress out about reading a menu and am I picking the right thing off the menu? Because it was either just a starting point, or they could just book the time with their therapist and the therapist would handcraft an experience for them that would achieve the optimal result. And that would be beautiful at the same time, like a true experience. Not only from the therapist getting excited and be performing advanced work, but also I think that the spa goer is now raising their expectation because they're not used to having a practitioner educate them in that way and empower them in that way. And they're pushing the therapist. And so I think that when they go to other spas that perhaps don't have ASTECC practitioners, their expectation is now there. So I feel like in that respect, we're raising the bar. It's allowed me to be successful very shortly after school because I'm able to teach the client something that they didn't know about themselves. And I'm not just performing a protocol, which is what you see a lot of times in a spa. ASTECC teaches you to think independently, and you really have to be on top of your game because every body is different. You're not just following a protocol. So you need to go back to the science and the theory that you learned in the ASTECC classroom and look at that body every time and say, okay, of the tools in my ASTECC toolkit, what can I put together to create a custom treatment that's going to achieve a specific result? I had a client the other day, first time seeing him, 20 minutes in, using ASTECC techniques, he says, I'd like to upgrade to a 90-minute. Brand new client. He leaves and he says, I'll see you next week. I saw him 4 days later. I'll see you next week. And he said to me, there are parts of me that you made feel alive again. To me, ASTECC gives me the tools to connect on that level. And he said, even his daughter's a massage therapist, he said he's never had a therapist address his issues in that way. I absolutely did not get that from massage school. I got it from an ASTECC program. One of the things that I really enjoy about ASTECC is the community. So you are so supported when you leave, not only by Anne and the other teachers, but the other therapists. We have Facebook case study pages, we email each other, we have Skype calls. And so if you have somebody who comes in and you've never seen that situation before, or you're trying many things and you're just not getting the result you want, you have this amazing supportive community to reach out to. It's like a family. So I don't see myself as a private practitioner out there floating on an island. One of the things that I would say I value the most in life is learning and growing. And frankly, I think that's one of the things that drew me to the ASTECC program, because even though there are 264 hours and 11 components, that's just the foundation. You still learn and grow so much, and that's what's been fascinating to me as well, is seeing some of the teachers and therapists who've been out of the completed the program 10 years ago, and still at our annual reviews, they're learning. So I think that in a lot of respects, it's even more challenging than being a spa director, because that recipe is kind of already there.